Alright everyone, this is a market wrap up for Thursday's trading. Right now we're about an hour after the New York session close, and we had some pretty big levels trading today. Let's take a look at the price action and the technical setups going into tomorrow. So let's start out here looking at our old traditional that was holding, and we broke in the ECB. At this point we are moving because of what we can see happen with price. We have clearly ignored the ECB data, so this fib has effectively traded and gone to target today, this traditional. So this is our next in the series, drawn from here. After hitting targets and coming off our lows and breaking micro shorts, we now look, our next short in the series is going to be from the highs to our new lows. So, going forward into Thursday and Friday, this is going to be key. Whether this breaks or it holds and brings us into our 2887s, which is right above, just almost a perfect front run of our bigger long level at 2875. Let me draw that in better, because I know it's not exact. There we go, 2875s. So, going forward, we have this is the most important development. Now, here's the tricky part. Well, first let's do a review of how this came about. Last night, at the close in Asia, we were holding this halfway back long, and I was mentioning about this level being front run, traded, and we retraded it right before, right at the later in the EU session, and it just worked out. It worked out perfectly, just like every other run that the longs have tried to get a foothold in and failed on their extensions. We have our Monday extensions failing after the New York close. Reverse trend. Same thing with Tuesday. Failed, reverse trend, and we were holding this halfway back long. We had a slightly dirty halfway back long, and then didn't even really get into any extensions. We just traded those 3063s, and once we broke this extension, it didn't look back. We went straight down, traded our first extension, broke the long, and we are still holding this extension, trading once, twice. And when we filled our targets, we did have a more aggressive, when we first traded this extension, we broke out of targets, and that set up a new extension, which traded once and went to target, and then the second time it broke, and that set us up in longs for the rest of the day. So we hit our profit targets, and we're now currently in counter trend longs. Looking into our next in the series traditional, coming in at 29.98s with a 30.14 or 30.16 stop. Let's see here. Got something else drawn in the way. Here we go. That's what it is. So this is the current setup right now. The thing is whether we're going to reach these 2875s or not, and the reason why I'm even questioning that is because of what we bounced off of in November. And let me get into that a little more. Okay. So weekly chart of the euro, our 50% long for the last, for 13 years, the inception of the euro, from 82-cent lows to $1.60 highs, and we had a front run of this level, then we had it traded, and it traded again last summer. It's putting us in this bullish wedge, and this has a long-term target for the euro dollar at $1.78. So what's so important about this level is it's the first 50% long off the low after our smaller time frame confirmation when it first traded in last summer. And every time we have came off this 50% level, we have broken shorts from the top of our range. And we can actually make a case that this short is holding from the top of our range so far, but we're being in this weekly long. This statistically, this half 50% long is a take. If we're going to look back at what's held in the past, it's a take before we can assume that this short is just going to take over and break it. If it does, then it will be pretty telling. It'll mean that this range is starting to build a bias towards breaking lower. But as of now, we don't know that. What we do know is that when we come off this level, we maintain longs and 50% longs up until we hit the top of this range. So that being said, now the reason why I wanted to draw this up is we have our 50% daily long right here, which is what we're looking at, trying to get to those 28.75s. Now if we drop down into a daily, now what we traded in November, this low right here, is in question because it was expected to trade a 50% long here, but it didn't happen. It got front run by way too much, over I think it was 40 pips, or either whatever the case, it didn't trade. What happened was well, first that summer we fell into our first halfway back long. We failed extensions, and upon failing these extensions, we expected a full 50% long. But what we got was potentially some sort of next in the series, and what possibly as well is what seemed to have traded was taking the pull from the actual 50% level on the weekly to highs. This got a reaction off it. So the reason why I'm curious about the low that we made today is because we got the same reaction off this level today. So it's very possible this may be the bottom with our 1.483 targets, 1.4083. So we have to be very careful on the short side, looking to try and get lower into those 28.75s. Because this may be a November style bottom where it gets tricky, and it's really in this long with 1,000 pips targets, and shorts are just not going to work here. So that I'm keeping that in mind coming into this 50% short right here. I don't think this is a take, although it has to be observed, and on a break of longs on a micro time frame, it may be worth the setup getting free because it does have targets right into the 50% weekly long. But I'm also considering going forward that if we maintain the low here without a second test of these 29.27s, it's very possible we may have bottom. So from here on, it's all about looking for longs to hold and shorts and evidence of shorts breaking, because we have a lot of resistance of the way up. The first one coming up at 30.16s, and with the resistances coming up, we will get plenty of pullbacks to get into this weekly trend from here. So anyways, so that's pretty much it going into Thursday. I'm observing this long off the low here, watching halfway back long overnight, and the next traditional in the series of daily shorts coming in at the 1.3 level. It's going to be the battle between these two to see exactly what happens. Are we going to continue trading our short series down, or are the 29-27 longs on the weekly going to break these shorts and start causing the big turn? So we'll see from here.